Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL. The MFL.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard D. Myles Sr., CEO, founder, and chairman of the Minor Football League. I hope everybody doing what they're supposed to do in terms of this pandemic. You know that you have to wear your face mask. I know a lot of people don't feel that they need it, but you need those face masks on. Also, I have a guest with me today. I had Mr. Jim Anderson today with us from up there in Buffalo, New York, radio. He's going to come down. I was on his show. He did a tremendous job. Also, I have our GM with us from the Tennessee Patriots. I'm also waiting for my co-host to get on because, as you know, in this studio here, the alarm went off. So everybody started running out. So I had to go out. You know what I mean? So it's not like, we was really, things was on fire, but I was really excited about, having this guest on today. Also, I want everybody to know the MFL is the laboratory of change, and we're bringing former players from the field to the front office. Also, we're the laboratory of change. We want people to understand that, the norm is gone, and we have to understand that. Although we waiting for everything to get back to normal, whatever normal is, but I can assure you that the norm is gone. Now we have to reinvent ourselves and do the things that we need to do to reinvent ourselves. And I had some great guests here today on the show. So let me bring in our guest. Mr. Anderson, Jim Anderson. I want to bring him on. Y'all bear with me a little bit because we had to run out the studio. But as you can see, they get our technical difficulty here. Mr. Anderson, are you there, sir?
Hey, I'm right here. How are you, Dr. Myles?
Okay, sir. And I also want to bring our GM in from down in Tennessee, the Tennessee Patriots. Right. I'm also waiting for my co-host, Mr. Robert Gatewood. He will be on shortly because when you hear that alarm, I don't know if y'all heard it, everybody want to start running.
Hey, I set it off.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How you doing?
Magnificent. Hello, Adam.
Okay, we're waiting for our co-host, but we're not going to wait. We're going to go on, and I thank you guys for being so patient. You know, when you come here to DC, you'll get a chance to see what we're really doing here. But right now, I want to thank Mr. Jim Anderson. He had me on the show earlier this week. I hope I didn't disappoint you.
Listen, you've been rocking
me.
The MFL and you and all those in it have been rocking. And actually, you know what the young folks say, y'all lit. And it is. Y'all really are, because this is a great opportunity moment. And I'm sure as we talk further in, it will blossom out for those who tuning in to get even more about what's happening.
Absolutely. And I have our GM here. We want everybody to know we're across the country. And matter of fact, we're going to have all our GMs come on Jim Anderson show, you know, invited that way that people know we're not just local. You know what I mean? The MFL is the laboratory of change, and we out throughout the country, and we're going to Africa. How you doing today, sir, down there in Tennessee?
Doing wonderful. It's a little rainy here, but you know, it's been a great day.
It's rainy here also. Also, I'm gonna, you know, let Mr. Anderson take off our show a little bit, because I'm quite sure he has questions he's gonna ask y'all, and I want him to do that. My co-host, Mr. Robert Gatewood, the marketing pulpit, that's somebody I definitely want Mr. Anderson to meet, because you know everybody think it's just me, man. I wish I could take all that credit, but I've got some really, my executive board is off the chain in terms of helping us to formulate and do the things that we need to do to make the MFL successful. So first of all, Mr. Anderson, tell the MFL nation who you are and a little bit of your background, sir.
Whoa, okay. Let me take you around the world. Well, first of all, I'm the host of Conversations with Jim Anderson, which broadcasts in Buffalo, New York, over the legendary WUFO 1080, The Mix, and Power 96.5. It's an in-community story. It's a Black woman-owned radio station, and it's in legacy stage. It's more than 50 years old. It has launched many who have already run around the nation right now, and some who have transitioned on. But it's a great station for conversation about everything. And particularly as we talk about the MFL, one of the things about bringing the conversation into where I'm at is that with the chapter you have in Rochester, which is just down the road from us with Dr. Friedman, well, right. One of the beauties is that the MFL offers a great opportunity for everybody in the community. And I mean, when I say it's all in, nobody out, but you got to do some things. In order to make it through life, there are requirements. So here's the deal. You don't have to be playing football to understand that an investment in the MFL is an investment in yourself. We've looked at the talent that has left our communities and gone everywhere else, and the money went too. And here we have an opportunity to have a venue, in one business line, they say, by us, for us, but it's expanded even more, because ain't no racial walls. It's just an understanding of the reckoning of the balance that ownership in our community needs to increase. It's not against anybody. It's getting along with everybody, bringing the donut hole up to make it all level. But even beyond that, I think about the many young people in my community whose eyes get bright. Young people see the players, all kind of sports players, and they dream that they can be that. They don't often hear of the stories of those who went to college thinking that they were going to move on to the NFL and was disappointed. They didn't have a sense of even any backdrop of where they can go. Well, what the NFL is doing in the laboratory of change, it really is offering a change at every level. I know that the players will be 20 and up, but for families, for those who have young people, you start nurturing young. And it hasn't. This MFL gives an opportunity to make this up and a really enrichment for the community. When you were on the show, one of the things I said is that I hope somebody listening start thinking about, hey, running some bus tours, whether it be down there in Tennessee. It's a long ride, but I wouldn't mind going back to Tennessee and anywhere where the games are. Can you imagine the circuit that can be created and opportunities for people to reach in? So all those bus owners out there, hey, I'm just saying. Again, the other opportunity is in the community. It gives our community centers and other places that are working with young people a way to nurture and help grow their interests. And whether they go in to play ball, they can play ball in the front office. They can learn the skills that need to be involved, that are not on the playing field, but it's in the game, no matter what part of the MFL structure is in. And I just think it's great. I'll stop on this to say the other beautiful thing is the international flavor. I mean, we see large other companies and other streams. We see the NFL trying to do it, but we have an opportunity and a natural connection to harvest something, again, to help in the economic empowerment that we need. Also, again, linking us back in multiple ways, because where there's ball playing, there are a lot of other businesses. Look, beyond all the artifacts that can be developed around the teams, there's a lot of other business, eateries when teams are coming. I mean, it's a fabulous opportunity. It's a very fertile moment. And I'm just glad to be able to, pump you on air and give you a plan. And you're right, Dr. Myles. I'm looking to have your different coaches on air at some point to crow a little bit about how good they are, because I know what the Rochester Chargers are going to do.
Oh, here we go.
I ain't pushing on nobody, but I know Dr. Freeman has got them tuned up, and so the rest of the fellas better play hard, because we'll be ready, and the whole community be coming with it.
Absolutely. And I also, my co-host just joined me, and like I said, this man here, he's a chaplain also, Robert Gatewood, Money Market Pulpit. He's the co-host, and I want to introduce you because it's got the alarm start going off. Everybody start running. Mr. Gatewood, we know it wasn't no fire, but this is Mr. Robert Gatewood, and this is Jim Anderson. Also, at Sam, our GM from down in Tennessee. Robert, I know you came in a little bit late and stuff before we get to our GM down there, but Robert, Mr. Anderson had me on the show. I hope I ain't embarrassed him too much. I got on there and we really had some camaraderie there, and we were thinking alike. And I know it's refreshing sometimes to hear people talking along the same lines and for the same thing. And Robert, he's our money guru. We always bring him in when we talk about business. I want to introduce Mr. Robert Gatewood. Unmute yourself, Mr. Gatewood. I think you're still on. Okay, there you go.
Hey, Jim and Adam. How you doing, guys? Doing?
All right.
Good. Just glad to join you today and glad to have you on the platform. I was listening to Jim. Sound like Jim's got a lot going on as I was hearing him talk, and sound like he has a very good grip on what the MFL represents and the opportunities that it brings to the table. And so it's always good to have people who see the vision, because it's not obvious to some, but many see it right away, and others have come on board and joined in and contributed. And so I'm interested to hear what Adam has to say. I haven't heard him speak yet, but just glad to be on board today. Hear you guys' conversation. And I'll be jumping in as well.
And also, Mr. Gatewood, he's definitely going to be in here because Robert, Mr. Anderson talked some real deep stuff. And when you talk about money and economic development, that's what Mr. Gatewood's specialty is. But like I said, we came on late, so we're going to go to 6:30 today, gentlemen. But I also want, I'm going to let Mr. Anderson, because we don't, nothing scripted here, ask our GMs some questions about the MFL franchise being there. So you can go ahead and take it away, Mr. Anderson, to Adam.
Cool. Well, I think, one of the things in pressing it forward is being able to tell people how they can invest at every level, besides the franchise as you fashion out all the action, is to be able to inform people ways in which they can do it. Also harnessing those community entities that, like I said, that won't be playing ball, but there'll be almost like a cheerleading section. And I remember Dr. Myles on the show talking about the opportunity, all the things you see around sports, the MFL is bringing that, but it's bringing it plus. Because around sports, you don't see a lot of safety nets already set up to help you make it through. You don't see a lot when these young folks are going into college and want to play sports. They don't get any clues on help on what they need to do in order to play it in the professional league. So I think you bring it in. And I would like to know on the franchise piece, and particularly as you reach towards the community, I guess I'm going to wonder if you're doing some innovative ways in which you're doing the reach, or what are the opportunities that are available for the rest of the community to get in on this?
Okay, I'm gonna let Robert take that, but first of all, we want to go to our GM down in Tennessee. So, what does it mean to have an MFL franchise there, Adam?
Oh, it means the world, and it brings professionalism out here along with the sport. And I think right now we're just in a vital time for sports, because in some of these other leagues and things like that, they're having difficulties, they're having some conflicts and things of that nature. I think people are wanting to hone in and get in more into the community and what we're able to offer. We're letting these not only like Mr. Anderson saying, not only with the young men, but with the people of the community, the small business owners, the workers that just want to enjoy a really good community game, things of that nature. So I think it involves the whole ball. And Dr. Myles, you've been sharing with me a lot lately. I've only taken over the last it's been about 3 weeks now that I've been fully involved, and you've shared with me a lot of things that Dr. Freeman has been doing. So I'm wanting to take that, and the MFL has given me a guideline, which is it's an impeccable guideline. It's very thorough, and it's very motivating. So, and just like as a GM, just like if I was a franchisee, I would want to follow that guideline, because obviously that's what leads to success. So on that note, I'm trying to get involved through like the Chamber of Commerce, not only in the town that we're in, but with all the other smaller towns. So you don't have to just be part of one chamber, so and that's one thing. You just recently shared with me today about reaching out to the community with some glass masks and gloves. It looks like that's what you guys are doing up in New York, and that looks motivating. So I definitely want to start looking at that, and things like that. Right now, as far as Tennessee goes, I got my finger on a couple great fields. I think I got one locked down. Matter of fact, we'll be moving forward. Talk about that in our managers meeting. But I also have taken your advice as far as finding facilities, 3 different ones, so we can have 3 different tryouts in 3 different areas. So I've been really working on that also.
What is the significance of being the only professional franchise in the state? That means you give all the kids in the Tennessee area an opportunity to stay home and play, and you playing against your neighbors in Florida,
yes,
South Carolina, down in Atlanta, North Carolina. I mean, think of these other and then Arkansas. You got surrounding states that you're going to have to deal with. So how great is that?
That is wonderful. And that's the thing is traditionally these guys are playing in their own backyard, and they don't get a chance to leave the state. So this gives them I imagine a highly motivation for them, and they're going to feel like they're going to be able to get a lot more opportunities as far as looks go, not just in the state of Tennessee, but when we go down to Florida and play down there, they're going to be getting looks from guys down in Florida. So it's gonna open up their ability to feel, to get exposure.
And I always tell people that it's not that you're not good enough to play in the NFL. It's not enough room. So this to give the MFL provides the opportunity you don't find outside of college or professional ball. Now these guys can have an opportunity to play, and we're going to take the best of the best. Knowing you, Coach, Mr. Jim, and knowing your extensive background, because I know you have owned some little teams before.
Sure.
So I know you was a good choice for us. But I'm going to hold it right there for a second, and I want to convert Mr. Anson over to our money guru, because when you start talking about the economic development stuff, Mr. Gatewood, he about ready to come off so I'll let Mr. Gatewood go ahead and answer that, and y'all can convey on that part of it.
Well, Adam is definitely pushing the right hot button when he's talking about the different facets and the stakeholders. We call them stakeholders, when you put in the fancy term with it. They're stakeholders. These are people that have a stake in the success of the MFL. And also these stakeholders include people like vendors and suppliers and business owners, the Chamber of Commerce, the community, employers. So all of these different groups have a stake, not just in the success of the MSL, but a reciprocal relationship.
Yeah.
So that we take all that synergy that we create by these different entities coming together, and we can channel that to address some of these systemic challenges that face our community. And that's why I'm actually involved in the MFL. I've done sports, I've run track, I've done the different things, but my whole goal is to build economic development in our communities. And so I see the MFL as a vehicle, as a means to that end. And so I was listening to Adam talk and to Jim talk. It's great to bring these like minds together and to talk about how we can build this economic powerhouse and address some of the challenges that face our community, and as well give these athletes, like you said, Dr. Myles, who didn't have an opportunity to play in the MFL, not because they weren't good enough, there just wasn't enough room. And so it's just so many ways that the building these franchises aid in the community, and we build this reciprocal relationship between the MFL and the stakeholders in the community.
Jim?
That's right on. As you're talking, I'm thinking, a lot of people look back in history and they talk about Black Wall Street.
Yes.
And when they talk about it, they start at where it is at Black Wall Street. They don't go back to how did it get to be Black Wall Street.
Absolutely.
And this NFL move is offering the same opportunity for communities and those who understand this moment to raise up something. I don't even think you guys know how huge this is. I can recall as a kid when I wasn't playing baseball or anything, but on Sunday after church, my aunt would take us to the baseball field. And we wasn't seeing the big major league. We were seeing those who were doing a kind of local circuit, and just seeing baseball players that not only looked like me, but was playing in the game. And then here you come now, and how it strikes my spirit is that not only play in the game, you can own the game.
Own the game.
And you got to own it, because you know why? There's some big dogs out there who would like to get it from you and have you work for them, and I'm just saying this is the reality. And when I think about what Adam is doing, you know what I want to say, Adam? I'm saying, check out community radio stations that can give you some time to have dialogue, and just like we're talking now, that will allow you some time and show them too. I think also, Dr. Myles and Greg Gatewood, is that there's a need to think about strategizing a radio plan for particularly some of these smaller radio stations, how to pull them in some kind of way. And I just think this is a very rich moment. I think this is the moment that the ideas and the presence of it makes the seeds that are being dropped when we talk about what else could be. See, because something that Dr. Myles said on the show. See, we're not talking about something, well, gonna come. It's already here.
Right.
The MFL is here. So the question is, what are we prepared to do? And that was the line. That was the line in the Untouchables movie. You know, Kevin Costner and Sean Connery, and Kevin say, "This is this," and Sean would say, "So what are you prepared to do?" That's what we're saying to our community and beyond. And we don't need to miss it. And we need to be bold in it. I catch it. I catch the flow of where it's going because, like, wait a minute. I've been on the planet long enough to know some history, but I'm just saying I know the great possibilities that are in this moment, and I know the need of the moments. The stuff you see happening in the streets, while we're trying to get the balance we need, not only in justice but in economics. We don't have to wait for them to give it to us. We have to be the ones creating it, pushing it, and recognize we already got the product. We've been had the product, and with the expansions that you already looked at, what I think Dr. Myles mentioned, 16 teams in Africa. Look, this thing. Look, I mean, we got plenty of businesses in the community that do trips and going to places and stuff. I'm just saying this is falling right into the groove, and every time you get a chance to talk about it, it's nothing but dropping seeds. And I know there's some fertile ground out there, and it may take a little while. I mean, Black Wall Street didn't get to be Black Wall Street overnight or in a couple of years, but it grew potentially and really to arrive at it, and you're already growing. I mean, 25 years, and our community is just now beginning to. That's because you were laying the infrastructure and getting it ready. So now it's time to expand. I hope to be part of that in some small way. And like I said, I'm looking forward to all these coaches and stuff and others in the system, getting them on air in Buffalo, because we bad. I just want to tell you.
Well, I always say seeing is believing. Mm-hmm. And I'm a firm believer in documentation be conversation. You know what I mean? So the MFL was never one who talked about what we're going to do. It's what we're already done. Adam, what is the census down there that the MFL is down in Tennessee? What is the movement? What is the feeling down there about it?
It's exciting. As you know, I've been getting a lot of contacts of people who are very interested. They have the opportunity to go to the website and look and see that this is not your normal, backyard football team, basically. And I'm not trying to insult anyone. I came from that background, but this is way above that step. Honestly, I think we're going to be overflowed with the responsive players already that I'm getting. We're going to be so overflowed. It's good that we have standards for these players, because it's going to help probably get a little weed the numbers down a little bit, because it's going to be a little overwhelming, I think. When we get time, when we time to actually start having tryouts and things, it's going to be very, very, very exciting and very plentiful, I'm sure.
Robert, something that I was excited about having Mr. Anderson on the show, me and him talk previously a while back, was talking. I never knew when he was. Handsome young man, huh? I have to give it to him. But you never seen me before, so now we get a chance to really see each other. Thank God for this technology. But Robert, when we talk about Robert was the son of a sharecropper, he would bring that up. And then I want to get to you, Mr. Anderson. Robert, and Robert, you someone in media as well, because your talk shows and you your business is bringing people, helping people start business. Why is it we take so long to understand this? And Jim, I'm gonna come back to you afterward. Why the media, particularly black media, is not on top of this? I'll go with you first, Robert.
Well, unfortunately, we have to deal with a history and a mentality that has to be addressed. But I think when we see more organizations like the MFL come out of the abstract, like Jim was saying, we're not an abstract anymore. We're in tangible form. We're flesh and blood. And even though he used a good example of Black Wall Street and Tulsa and other places where we saw economic empowerment, these places didn't happen overnight. And Myles, now you make the reference of some people not seeing it. A lot of people didn't see it back in during Black Wall Street in Tulsa and Greenville and other places as well. But there are leaders, there are visionaries that set the example, set the tone, and then others will follow. And that's why it's so important to have media. That's why it's important to have this radio show and what Jim is doing and what my show is doing, that we take this out of the abstract and let people know this is not a pipe dream, that this not only can it be done, it's actually happening right before their eyes, and people are jumping on board. I see Adam shaking his head because he's a witness. He's seen it happen right before his eyes. So we have to keep doing what we're doing, Myles. We have to keep putting it out there, letting people realize that this is real, this is doable. And as we keep doing that, we keep beating that drum and ringing that bell, we're going to see some of that apprehension, some of that reluctance, some of that recalcitrance start to drop. And people start jumping on board because they'll start to believe.
Dr. Freeman had done something historical. They was talking about the Washington team organization signed the first African-American president. To me, that's a Band-Aid over a cut. Why are you making such a big deal out there? Which is, I don't want to take nothing from him because I'm happy for the brother, but we have an individual that is an owner of a professional franchise. And that's showing people that not only this attainable, but this can be done. And we are going to make sure that we help our people of color own these franchise. Dr. Freeman is doing a tremendous job up there. But I think I don't want them to miss the fact that he owned this franchise, gentlemen. He owned this. You know what I mean? So there's no glass ceiling there. He can call the shots. And you and I know, especially you, Robert, and Adam, y'all know for yourself, and Mr. Jim Anderson, it's nothing like owning your own, man. And when you can work as many hours as you want, it don't seem like you're working hours. You know what I mean? Because it's yours. And you're going to take more pride into something that's yours, as to not saying you don't respect other people's stuff, but, that he owned a franchise. I mean, these black media should be covering this, Mr. Anderson. They should let everybody know, wait a minute, he done it. This is not a guy played in the NFL with billions of dollars that they blown. This was a hardworking individual.
That's
Look
right.
at this. Wait a minute. I can do this. As you told me, I can't give you the 1.5. I mean, the 2.5, Mr. Myles. What is the down payment? I can do that. And that's what we want to do. Robert, we tell everybody the league will finance the $2 million and a half. We will do that. All we want you to do is somebody that our feasibility studies say you're a good risk. You know what I mean? We'll take the down payment and we'll turn the it's not like you can take the franchise nowhere. And I know he's doing a tremendous job.
Yeah,
it's hard to catch him in the Mr. Gatewood. Robin, you can attest to that, Adam. He just
But you know what?
Going with it.
When people use the word franchise, it's such a big deal. They don't say own it. They use the word award. That's how big of a deal it is. I've been in the franchise business for several years, and it talks about the power of words and the power of ownership. When somebody gets a franchise, this is a big deal. This is an awarding. It's a media event. And that's why when we see these owners start to step up to the plate and take their ownership, take their bow and be awarded, then we need to celebrate it and corral these media people. Let them know this is a big deal. If it was happening in other communities, they'd have skywriters across the sky. They'd have jumbo gyms out in the parking lot. But somehow in our community, it seems to be swept under the rug. I'm going to assume that it wasn't intentional, but that's where we have to take once again, that's why we have to own our media. We have to own our stations, own our teams. And that's not to exclude anybody. Don't get me wrong. When I say owning, I'm not trying to take away from anybody else. But we do have to, every community, whatever the community is, they have to embrace ownership and celebrate the people who take that big step.
You're absolutely right. And while you're mentioning my good brother, Dr. Freeman, I tell you something else he did. I don't know if y'all can see this. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, we saw that. Oh, we pushed that. We've been pushing that.
Oh, man, that's big.
Right. Oh, wow, that is, yeah.
All female board of directors.
Absolutely.
And in this time, where we're marking the history of them getting the right to vote and even to have a equal stance in business, we're doing it up in Western New York. Not only that, I can tell you our radio station, You Got Me, has been amplifying what is happening. And I can also tell you the challenges for radio, particularly in communities that have been repressed and oppressed, is the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying to consider that part as you look ahead and to how as it becomes a help deal. Not where I'm gonna make my money off of you or you make your money off of me. No, we together advance what we have here, because it's gonna play in that. Look, in every community across the nation, one thing about inner city radio is the drum beat. That's the drum beat. If you want to get what's going on, where's it going down, you need to have one of them kind of stations in your area. And where they at, they cover the gamut from the Holy Ghost to where you go to have a toast. And I'm just saying the beauty there is that as we begin to master these entities, because the MFL don't need to be over here by themselves playing and using bullhorn. They need to be right with us, and we need to be right with them. I can envision as this develops that stations that have their own sports program being live at the game, reporting back. I mean, this moment for communities and for everybody who have the eyes and can think is very impregnated and can deliver a lot of good for folks in our community. Now, the beauty is that as some of those economic growth happens within the community, it stimulates other parts of the community, because those, while they're helping with move the NFL in the game, they also have other businesses. And so it's just what we're witnessing is how Black Wall Street got started. Doing business with each other, doing it over a period of time, having the sense on how to manage money, how to link the power together. We're at that moment now. And we only have to break through the cloud and the wall of doubt peddling. Where, I don't know, man. Who is they? See, all of a sudden, everybody want to check out where you come from. Well, how come I didn't know this before? Well, I always say, look, there's old adage that say, when the rooster crow, that don't mean the rooster just woke up. That means you just now hearing. You guys have been around 25 years already. And for some of us in our communities, we're just hearing and waking up. That's why I say you got to keep amplifying it, keep showing what has been done already. And it's going to stimulate the mind for what else can be done. but also the buy-in. And that's what we're doing now. It's trying to get people to move away from their doubt, move away from, well, I don't know, to not be late to where they be saying later on, say, I wish I had a. No, you can now. This is where we at. And that's for Black radio and any radio. That's for anybody that has a business sense. This is one of those moments. You don't want to miss the train.
Absolutely. And the sad part is we always late. But I give it to us. When we get it, we get it. But the great thing about the MFL, like I say, the laboratory changed. The fact that we are leveling the playing field for everybody. If you're interested in broadcast journalists, if you want to be talent come with us. We'll give you an opportunity to build your tape. We'll give you an opportunity to be live. If you're interested in sports management, come here. We need more we need to train more people to understand being a sports agent. We need people in marketing, PR, these types of people. We need to train you guys. And what more better place than get it than with a professional football league that's around not only the country, but across the sea. We are excited about Africa. Africa is excited about us because now and I know Africa is one of the richest continents in the world, if not the richest. What's always been taken advantage, but we going over there. What's so great about this, as I said on your show, Mr. Anderson, Muhammad Ali, and they did a great job when they went over there. They brought everything to Africa. The only problem is when the fight was over, everything came back. You know what I'm saying? Everything came back. So for that moment in time, it stopped and then it started again. But the great thing about the MFL, you're going to own these franchises over there. You're going to have a conference champion to represent the continent of Africa and the continent of the United States. But the great thing about it, they're MFL franchises. So the first World Bowl, that's unheard of. I mean, I know you sit there and you're thinking, I see the GM think, he said, wow. Then we take turns. Sometimes we play it there. Sometimes we play it here. Now, we dealing with the MFL, everybody making money. We need buses. You got a bus company, then you want to do a deal with us. You got a hotel, we got to stay. We coming on the road for 5 games. We got the restaurants. We're going to bring economic development there. Even the concession. People got to eat for 3 hours. They got to park their cars. That's economic development. You got to hire people. You know what I mean? So these are the type of things, before I turn it over to our guru here, Robert, because I know that's what it's all about, economic development. Am I reaching it, Robert? I Shelley, let you step in on that, but that's what the MFL about, the laboratory of change. And the key, affordable entertainment. Everything the NFL got, the other league we have apparel. That each team got their own apparel. Is that right, Adam? Mm-hmm. You can support you can wear your stuff or your team apparel around. If you like the other team, you got somebody in the other state gonna like the other team, got some relatives there. So now you wearing everybody's stuff. A league for us and by us. Robert, I get a little excited, Robert. I don't know. I thank God we are making history, gentlemen. And if people don't see it, Robert, their eyes is closed, right?
Well, you should be excited because as we champion the ownership is a very operative word. People shouldn't minimize it by any stretch of the imagination. We're in a different period in time right now as well. As we see the social justice movement, we have in the middle of a pandemic. So anybody who's apprehensive or thinking that, look, I'm going to wait until something else happens, this is a time. If you ever going to take a risk or step outside the box, this is the time. This is a window right now that you probably won't see again for another 100 years, like since the last pandemic. So I'm not saying your pandemic necessarily is your key to the kingdom, but what I am saying is a lot of the old things that have held people back, that made people think or think long and think wrong. I think you have to, at this point in time, look at, if you haven't made it so far and whatever you have been doing has not been working, this is the time to look at doing something different. And that's why when I look at, I'm looking at, I was reading I keep up with the stock market and things like that. I just watched Elon Musk become the third richest guy in the world. Elon Musk, this guy was just a visionary, just like the rest of us. He put together an idea. He believed in himself. He went out and rallied the necessary stakeholders. His stock split a week ago. It was up to $2,300 a share, and the market has taken a hit this week. But my point is, all those folks on the stock market are no different than people sitting right here on this show today. Ideas, innovation, went out, found the stakeholders, the necessary people, and get people to believe in their vision. And so we're seeing, like Mr. Anderson said, we're seeing another revival. We're seeing another Wall Street coming up in our community, but people have to believe, and they have to. I don't want anybody to take unnecessary risk or unsafe risk, but there is going to be some risk in anything you do. There's an old saying that fortune favors the bold. You have to be bold at some point in your life to join the ranks of the Elon Musk of the world. You have to take some type of bold steps.
Mm-hmm. And we tend to, I think about all these people play numbers every day. I mean, you should see the money they be paying, $50, $100. I'm like, you look at people go gambling or take risks. I heard a friend of mine told me that he got this good venture. Some people was telling about, if you get them $500 in 2 weeks, they give you $4,000. Well, if a guy got 4,000, why would he need my 500?
Yeah.
If he gonna give me 4,000, to me that don't make sense. But right there, they believe in something that's not tangible. It's just the sound of it. I ask you, Mr. Anderson, why are people like that? I'm still.
Well, I think one of the things about it is that you have to look at the history that have led some people so far away from being involved that they automatically feel that they're not involved. And in fact, some of the folks that will be coming on late will be those who got pipered away by this culture that has been doing it. Now, the MFL is like it coming like a Kunta Kinte spirit. That you recognize that no, and I don't have to, I can do some stuff and I can upright and do it. And you're doing it. And it's linked to history. In those times when they had the different circuits, whether it was baseball or whatever, in those times, that was another shot of showing that we have the ability if we apply ourselves to it. Here we are, a bit more wiser, and we do have the ability, as Brother Gatewood talked about. We have the ability. It's all about what are we prepared to do, and that's the hard part. But you're doing what is necessary. If you don't drop a hook in the water, you ain't gonna catch nothing. But
That's
that
right.
message is the same thing to the hare. As they hear, if they don't drop a hook in the water, they ain't gonna catch nothing. Now they can share the good news. We want them to do that. But what we're saying, look, everybody in, nobody out. And when I say that, look, whether you come in financially or whether you come in, if you want to consider it as a cheering sector or just rooting and enlightening someone else, do that. But recognize we got something good here and we don't need to let it slip through our hands. And we really should thank all of you who already stepped up, who are the front line of what the NFL is, that you're already deep in the water. And so what we're saying, hey, others, check it out. Come on, you can help. And I think that's I think that's the message, and I think that'll break through the thinking of where people think, well, that's over my head. It's not over our heads. It's not over anybody's head. And people see a broadcast like what you're doing. They're seeing everyday people in the hood doing everything that they do. And so they need to understand it's not over our head, but we need to put our heads into it and use it and make it work for us.
Adam, down in Tennessee, I know because we've been interviewing several people down there, but we get a lot of resumes and people want to go cross country. And Robert, we talk about that all the time. We don't want nobody going cross country. And I'm going to tell you something about the South. It's a different animal down there because you don't know Johnny, cousin, uncle, friend, cousin, you can forget it. Don't care how good you're doing something. Am I right, Adam? Right or wrong?
That's very correct.
Down there, because if you don't, you can forget it.
That's correct.
We are excited we want people to know down there that we have one of their own working for the MFL. We did not take that lightly. We did our feasibility study. We wanted someone from down in Tennessee. Who know more about Tennessee? I know nothing about Tennessee other than traveling through it a few times. So I'm not going to pretend. But people feel comfortable with people they know.
Absolutely.
I think why we definitely successful down there is because Adam from down there, you got so many guys calling, them big guys. We wish we could distribute them all around the league, but when they say we call them down in Tennessee, we know we can't. But you got some great athletes down there, and the guys all saying, hey, we signing up. We calling other people. So it's you getting a chance to stay home and play when mama and dad and your uncles enough to see you. You don't have to travel way somewhere to try out for some team and don't make it. If you do make it, you way somewhere that your family can't afford to get there. I think this is my idea, my concept with putting franchises in areas like Tennessee. I think people will understand that it was a great idea because now you got a chance to stay home. These players that came up through the high school, the college and stuff that always was, everybody now they get to play home for the professional team. How great is that, Adam?
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, and I mean, it takes the worry off of these players' shoulders because the responsibility of having to go to, be on a team that's just not in your state or not in your neighborhood, the financial responsibility it takes, the time that it takes, the wear and tear on your vehicle, or having to group up and have carpool, and it's just it takes so much more weight off these players where they can concentrate on the real thing, and that's getting better as a person and playing ball.
Absolutely. And the great thing about the MFL, you can't get no better than that. $1 million insurance on the players. How good can that get, y'all? How good is it? We gonna take care of the transportation of the players. You don't want nobody driving the cars.
Exactly.
What Adam just said.
Go ahead, Mr. Anderson. I'm sorry.
What Adam just said, it's another thing that sticks out on it. Them playing at home is an enrichment for that community.
Mm-hmm.
And each of the teams, they're enrichment for the base where they at, even while they're home. But when the other games start happening, that's money coming into the community. Somebody needs somewhere to sleep if they ain't got no cousin somewhere. They
That's
need
right.
to know where Mr. Gilmore's store is to get the good whatever they need. I'm just saying, as we talk, more and more views and avenues of how wonderful this opportunity is.
Not only that, just think about it. When we go on the road, we travel. We go by luxury bus. After the game, the guys get to stay in a nice bed, rest, and talk about the game afterward. you know, on the way back home. That's the great, not only, and what more importantly, they get to do community service in the community. All the players have to do 100 hours of community service. But more importantly, these are guys from your community that you don't see just when a game is played. You see these guys all the time in your community. Hey, that's so-and-so. Yeah, he from the community. Not that you're going in the community doing stuff because you're getting paid for it, because that's in your contract. You have to do 100 hours of community service. So these are young men that not only that they're playing for the professional team there, they are part of the community. And you have to admit yourself, Robert, that a big plus or what, Robert?
Well, you're not just building economic foundations and businesses, but you're also building character, because as you continue to nurture these young people, they come from a variety of backgrounds. And not only that, you have a geographic width from not just around the corner, but around the world. So the reach, as far as the geographic reach and the personal reach, how it affects people in their many facets of their lives, whether it's their education, whether it's their economics, and building that character. All of those components come together to make, it's kind of like a microcosm of what the MFL is all about, bringing different people together, different skill sets, different possibilities. And that's why I think the success is inevitable, because the cause is just, the mission is just. You're doing something that's right. And I always say when I do my show every week, is you want to be successful, do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. And so I see the doing it right part coming together right before our eyes.
Down in Tennessee, I know this has to be, even for you, Mr. Jim, the kids ain't got to worry about how you're going to get to the game.
Yeah, that's
true. You know, we go in first class or we don't go at all. I was always brought up to say image is everything, and you only get one chance to make a first impression. After that, you can't do it no more. So we got to be right the first time, Mr. Anderson. You know what I mean? You know, Jim, Mr. Anderson, we have to be right the first time.
Yeah.
Commitment, integrity in all that we do. You know, and we tell the guys, you in the community, then you still relevant there. So when you're walking around with your MFL stuff on, everybody say, wait a minute, yeah, that's so-and-so play. He lived down the street. Guys ain't got to worry about getting on. You at home. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You working your job. This is part-time. Don't worry about the NFL scouts and the CFL scouts. They'll be there. They always do. Because when we're playing, is no boys club, no high school, no college, no NFL. They all start after we finish. So who the eyes going to be on, gentlemen? Eyes on us. I tell everybody we're the greatest show on earth, and it's going to only cost them 50 cents to see it. $500, we're going to charge you 50 cents to see this. That's how good, that's how sure we are of the product that we're putting on the field. That's how sure we are that we want to make sure these guys beyond the field. After this is over, because you can't play forever, we're going to teach you skills how to be. Then Mr. Gatewood here, we're going to show you how to be entrepreneurs. We're going to show you how to start businesses. And not a business, but business. You know, these are the things important to us. You know, with that, you know, using a player, throw them away after, We want these individuals, along with our dance team, along with our other personnel, the part of these friends, we want them to know that we appreciate them, we value them, and it ain't just use them up in like a Dixie cup and throw them away, like some of the leagues do. We're not going to do that.
They're good.
Very good.
That's why the MFL is the MFL. Like you said, Mr. Myles, it's the laboratory of change, and not just changing the league, but like you said, to change the way we treat people, the way a business operates. We've seen the old way, and we've seen this creation of the haves and the have-nots. Capitalism at its heart is not the best. It's not a very fair system. That's why we need new people, new thought leaders to come into the community and pick people up and, like you say, not just use them and toss them aside, Even when you go into the continent of Africa, we've seen what has happened to Africa over the years. It had, like John Henrik Clark, great scholar, said, when people go to Africa, they don't go for any good, and that's not the MFL. The MFL is going with altruistic ambitions to help people over there create economic empowerment, go in those communities where there's been lackluster performance economically. And so when you do this when you take this different kind of approach to going across the sea or working in the community, good things are just going to happen, and it's going to actually benefit everybody involved. The stakeholders are I would say, in for a treat, and it's going to be just a big benefit all the way around.
Mr. Anderson.
Concur with that. Yes.
I'd like to say on that note, the thing that I really think that's bring to the MFL is the standard. It's the standard of the MFL. I've had so many players contact, and they go, "Oh, geez, coach, I really don't fit in. I'm a little too old," they said. And by them saying that, they still want to be so involved. It's like telling a kid, "No, you can't have it." Well, if I can't play, then what can I do? What can I do? So there's it's in that having that standard. It's like a child. They need to have that guide, and that's what they gravitate to. When they see that, they gravitate towards that. When it's loose and it's sloppy, they tend to push the boundaries, and they tend to try to take advantage of things. That can't happen in this league, and that shines.
Yes, indeed. Adam, again, you point out. I was thinking about it as the talk earlier, and just now. Man, this is going to be really good for families. Mm-hmm. You know how many people would like to take their youngsters to show them what sports is all about, but to show them something that they got deep investment in, not only skin wise, but own it. I mean, look, I'm telling you, this is huge. And if one could just catch this groove and how it's flowing and help push it. See, because again, I'm not kidding. You don't have to go on to play the game, to be in the game. And this is a chance for all of us to be in this game. It speaks to the now moment, the future, and that future, those that we're raising up in our households right now, them young folk. I mean, look, this is a great opportunity. None of the when you talk about the NFL, it wouldn't have got there if people hadn't invested in it. And the problem is we did too much investing in it to get so little out. And all we're saying is we know everybody ain't gonna die. That's we ain't even saying that. But we said let's take care of self. Don't you know what you doing for over there? You could do on your own turf and watch. It's not magic, but watch the beauty and watch what happens when you do it together. We do better together, and that's all we're saying. Come on, let's get it done.
In the economical base, we tell people, imagine we are family friendly. You take your whole family. Most family consists of 4 people. We're doing a season ticket that admit 4 people, all 5 home games, $400. Now, that's unheard of. Unheard of. But we want families. We want it to be family orientated. The whole family can go. It's affordable entertainment. That's the key to it. There's nowhere in the world. I talk to the gyms. I say, find the biggest venue you can get. Well, this place holds such and such a. We'll pack it. Because there are more disadvantaged than there are advantaged. When you say, Mr. Gatewood.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we taking that family approach. Once again, it extends the reach of the MFL. It gets more people involved. Family members have their own networks, and so it's that holistic communal approach that's going to serve the community well, and it's going to serve the MFL well.
Definitely. Well, I need to tell you, I'm gonna get my jacket with all the teams on it. And
yeah, we haven't made everything. Absolutely.
Where you get that jacket? I'm telling. Look, the NFL is going to instill even more pride and the youngins, and then the old folks who's still around who like, wow, yeah, look, this man.
Dr. Freeman, he just got his big order just came in. All the hats, the shirts, everything. And more importantly, gentlemen, I really want, the MFL, we want you to just experience what we're doing. We ain't ask you to, need to come running to us, just experience. All we want you to do is experience what we're doing. That's why we tell everybody, come experience the MFL. That's all we're not telling you to do nothing or our water is colder than the next person. We just want you to come and experience what we're doing. That's all. And at a culture, I'll tell you something, you're going to be shocked. As with what you all, when you saw it, I know, Mr. Anderson, when you seen the website, you said, what is this? I know, Adam, when you seen it, you said, wait a minute now, let me look at this again. Where's this been? Some me and Rob were talking about, we didn't stop because the COVID pandemic stepped in. We say, okay, we need to keep going. Did we not, Robert? We said we got to keep going. Thank God for social media, because now we're reaching thousands, and don't think that African connection that we have, they are excited about this. And more importantly, man, everybody can't wait till we get started. Mr. Anderson, tell MFL Nation how they can listen to your show and stuff.
I'm on every Monday here in Buffalo, New York. You can go on the internet and go to power965.com, and that'll bring you into live. The other one, you can go to WUFOAM.com, and I'll send you some more information. You can also call me. I'm gonna throw my number out there: 716-903-5648, and we can do something. And whatever way I can do to help expand the effort and launch it higher and further, I'm going to be doing that. And I just think this is a really good opportunity, and I wasn't being facetious about Black Wall Street.
Thank you, sir. Adam, I can reach the Tennessee Patriots. You want to throw your stuff up? Tell them.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a new email now, so it's Tennessee Pats football@gmail.com. We also I have my number. I'm actually going to be changing my number because it's not local with the Knoxville area, which we're going to be playing out of. So, but as of right now, my phone number is 828-279-2763.
Thank you. Mr. Gatewood.
Always glad to join the show on Wednesdays with Dr. Myles. I also have my own show, Marketing Pulpit, every Friday at 10:30 a.m. We are an international show, Marketing Pulpit International. You can find out more by going to marketingpulpit.com. That's my radio show and TV show. And I'm also a business developer. My mission, my raison d'etre, my reason for being is to build economic viability in our community by building businesses and putting people to work. And everything I do, touch, drink, smack, whatever, it goes through that vein of building economic empowerment. That's my purpose, as the French say, the raison d'etre. And the minor football league is a capable vehicle in helping me achieve that aim. So I'm glad to be affiliated.
And I'm Dr. Richard D. Myles, CEO, Chairman, and Founder of the Minor Football League. You can also reach us. Our website is MFLishere.com. We're on all the social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Our email is experiencetheMFL@gmail.com. I want to thank you guys for being on today, and I look forward to having Mr. Anderson on. And I know, Mr. Anderson, we're going to get you on our radio show too. This has been another edition of Inside the MFL. We'll see you Friday. Thank you. Thank you. Conda Faber.
Right on.